it is okay to take a risk versus being regretful of not doing what you wanted to do. Those sacrifices were all worth it. Education is a lifetime experience, and it does not stop at the university. It only starts here. It's an incredible honor just seeing so much energy in one room. A huge round of applause for each of the graduating class of 2018. I'm sure we are all cognizant that we are blessed to be a part of this golden age of this country. India is going through an economic, a social, a cultural leadership process in the world stage. And when the story of all of this will be written 15 or 20 years later, the people who would have created this story will be all of us. So sometimes I think it's important to take a step back of all those last minute preparations and examinations, the excitement of graduation, and remember the big opportunity all of us have been bestowed with. Given this is such a big opportunity, I felt I could share some of the small learnings I have had in my short career by means of stories for all of you. Each one of you will create your own stories in the future and will end up talking about it many years from now. But I hope some of you will relate to the stories that I talk about now and probably use in your life journeys as you get started for them. In my short experience, I learned one very important thing. Life presents you with two opportunities or two options at all points of times, not four, A, B, C, D, like Kaun Baneya Crorepati, just two. Either a risk or, on the other hand, regret. I have learned always that whenever life presents you with either of these opportunities, taking a risk is always better than regretting not taking that risk many years from now. So what I want to talk about today is why risking it is better than being regretful about it in the long term. The first story that I want to talk about is that going after what you really, really want to do. You know, all of us are in our 20s. All of you are in your early 20s, which means that you have very limited liabilities in life. You don't have a husband or a wife waiting for you back home. You don't have kids whom you have to leave for school. Nowadays, admissions are hard in schools. I can tell you that by my colleagues. You don't have any of those pains. All you have is the ability to dream and go out and make an impact. So next few years, you'd see some of your friends getting better CTCs. But if you really enjoy doing something else, it's okay to let that be and not be the top CTC candidate. Remember, in the long term, it will all be worth it. Right after my 11th grade actually, I had the opportunity of being so ambitious about entrepreneurship. I used to read about entrepreneurs every day. There were two companies I was very inspired by. I was inspired by Royal Enfield and I was inspired by Indigo Airlines. So I used to take weekend trains from Kota to Delhi to come and listen to those entrepreneurs. Most of the people around me said, on weekends life is so good and you end up going every weekend to listen to entrepreneurs whom we don't even know about. Then I lived in a Barsati for a year in Delhi and worked from there to build really, really small businesses. Most of them, pretty insignificant. We do more. Those sacrifices were all worth it because I genuinely wanted to make a difference around myself. Which means that if each one of us have an ambition or we learn what we have an ambition about, it's okay to sacrifice the usual excitements in life for the next few years to do what you want to do. Which means it is okay to take a risk versus being regretful of not doing what you wanted to do. And 30 years later, being at a bar and telling your friends, you see this friend of mine who's done so well in his life, I could have also been like him if I had taken a risk. You don't want to be regretful like that. You want to be the person on the photo who's being talked about. The second one is living a very happy and ambitious life, but with a lot of discipline. But right after I decided that I want to be an entrepreneur, I used to read online on TechCrunch, Economic Times, and so on about entrepreneurs, and I felt what an easy thing it would be. You just choose a good idea, and if you're intelligent enough, it should just become successful. I was up for a reality check. When you show up for meetings,